When my son died, I believed the universe had taken everything from me. Then his best friend called me 4 days after we scattered the ashes. Mr. Fontaine, I found a USB drive hidden in Michael's workshop. You need to see what's on it. And please don't tell Christine anything. I think she knows I have it. Those words made my heart stop. What could Michael possibly have hidden from his own wife? But when I drove to Calgary and watched those files open on the screen, my entire body went numb. The man I raised had known he was in danger, and he'd left me everything I needed to prove it. The memorial service had been held at a small chapel overlooking the Bow River. My wife Elaine had passed 3 years earlier, and now our only child, Michael, was gone at 41. A brain aneurysm, they said. His wife Christine claimed she found him when she came home from yoga. She stood at the front of the chapel accepting condolences. Black dress, pearls, controlled tears. Beautiful and composed. Too composed. I noticed a man in a tailored suit approach her quietly. He touched her elbow. She smiled at him in a way that did not belong at a funeral. He left without speaking to anyone else. 11 days before his death, Michael had called me close to midnight. Dad, if anything ever happens to me, promise you'll look after things. Make sure everything is handled right. I laughed at the time. He was healthy, strong, 41. Nothing was going to happen. Just promise me, he said. I promised. He told me he would explain everything at Christmas. Christmas was 3 weeks away. He never made it. Now I sat in a quiet coffee shop with Daniel, his business partner, watching the USB files load. Folder after folder opened. Bank statements, transfers, dates. Christine had been draining their joint accounts for over a year. More than $800,000 transferred to an account under the name Bradley Weston. Daniel pulled up a photograph. The same man from the funeral, her personal trainer. They had been having an affair for years. Then came the letter. Dad, if you're reading this, something has happened to me. I discovered Christine's affair 8 months ago. I planned to confront her after the holidays. 3 weeks ago she realized I knew. Since then she has been different, watching me, asking questions about my health, my supplements. She keeps pushing me to increase my life insurance. I changed the beneficiary to you 2 days ago. Dad, if something happens to me that seems natural, please don't accept it. Look deeper. You taught me how to see patterns. Trust your instincts. I read that letter over and over until the words blurred. My son had been afraid. I went to the police. Detective Sarah Chen listened carefully but remained cautious. Brain aneurysms can strike without warning, she said. Financial trouble and infidelity do not prove murder. She was right. Suspicion is not evidence. But I had spent 32 years with the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. I knew how to gather evidence. I returned to Christine's house and played the grieving father who suspected nothing. Over the next week I watched quietly. She left the house every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday afternoon. I followed her to a condominium where Bradley Weston lived. I photographed them together, intimate, comfortable. Late at night, while she slept, I searched the house. In the basement behind the furnace I found a small plastic bag containing 2 prescription bottles. One held faint white residue. In her glove compartment I discovered pharmacy receipts from a town nearly 90 kilometers away. Potassium chloride solution, medical grade, purchased in cash. The dates were just weeks before Michael died. Potassium chloride, administered intravenously, can trigger cardiac arrest. In high concentration it can stop the heart quickly and leave little trace unless specifically tested for. Michael exercised in the basement every morning before dawn. The possibility formed clearly in my mind. I requested additional toxicology analysis through a private laboratory, citing irregularities. Waiting for the results was torture. During that time Christine made me tea one evening and insisted it would help me sleep. I pretended to drink it. The next morning the houseplant I had poured it into was wilted and brown. 3 weeks later the lab report arrived. Elevated potassium levels inconsistent with natural occurrence. Microscopic evidence of an injection site near Michael's arm. My son had not died of natural causes. He had been poisoned. This time when I met Detective Chen, I brought everything. Financial transfers, photographs, pharmacy receipts. The residue sample, the lab results, and Michael's letter. She studied the toxicology report carefully. Potassium chloride injection. This changes everything. The investigation was reopened as a homicide. search warrants were issued quietly. I kept Christine distracted while officers searched her home and Bradley's condominium. She spoke about selling the house, about traveling, about moving somewhere warmer. My phone vibrated with a message from Detective Chen. Evidence secured. Arrests imminent. Moments later, police vehicles pulled into the driveway. Christine stepped outside, confused. Detective Chen approached her calmly. "Christine Fontaine, you are under arrest for the murder of Michael Fontaine." The mask fell from her face. Shock turned to anger. She looked at me and understood. Bradley Weston was arrested at the same time. His computer contained months of communication between them, detailed discussions, insurance payouts, methods, dosages. They had researched poisons and calculated precisely how much money they would receive. The trial began in September. I attended every day. The prosecution presented bank records, surveillance footage from the pharmacy, forensic analysis proving injection. Bradley accepted a plea deal and testified. He described how Christine practiced injections until she felt confident she could do it quickly and quietly. The jury deliberated for 6 hours. Guilty of first-degree murder. Guilty of conspiracy. Guilty of fraud. Christine was sentenced to life imprisonment with no possibility of parole for 25 years. Bradley received a lengthy sentence as well. The insurance claims were voided. Neither of them received assent. I established a foundation in Michael's name. It supports families who suspect their loved ones' deaths were not accidents but lack the resources to prove it. In 2 years, we have helped reopen multiple investigations and assisted in several arrests. I returned to Victoria, to the home where Elaine and I raised our son. His childhood room remains unchanged. Hockey posters still on the walls. Trophies on the shelf. His old telescope by the window. The grief remains. It always will. But alongside it stands something solid. I kept my promise. Michael feared his truth would be buried. It was not. A father cannot always protect his child from harm. But he can fight for justice. He can refuse to let lies stand. He can make sure his child's life meant something. And my son did. He mattered more than words can say.